Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Silent breed is people!
One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
E.T. phone home.
It's the Al Travis Show. And I think at times, maybe it's a good sign. Our last guest, Sarah Ferguson, first time on, trying to treat her nice, get done with it. And then there's Bill Doherty from Braver Angels, who now's been on enough that he thinks he can just knock me up the knees. I think I was quoted. Go ahead. I think I was quoted as saying, good.
Hey, we were talking a couple minutes ago. I thought we were on the air, and I have my best insults. I saved my best. And then you said, we'll be on in 30 seconds. I mean, I just went for it. Thank goodness, during the break. Going into the break, I said something about some fun times might have been. Very much fun. And so Bill's on. I said, "Hey, Bill, how are you doing?" He goes, "Very much fun, huh? English is your second language." And I'm like, "Okay, I've known Bill for 30 minutes, an hour, maybe, and now we're friends, and I appreciate it." It made me cry laughing because, like, it's not always easy sometimes with the words. Bill, thank you for being on. I appreciate you so much. And for folks who don't know, our regular guest that would be on this slot had to back out. And when I'm going, who do we get in here? First is who do we want in? And with what's gone on in the state of Minnesota, what's going on in the world, I'm like, we got to get Braver Angels on because, I mean, we need you guys like nobody's business. And we'll talk about what you guys do. But you're on your way out of town and you made it happen for me. I can't thank you enough for doing this, Bill. I mean, in all seriousness. Happy to do it, Al.
So your group, Braver Angels of Minnesota, I'll give you my 30-second elevator speech. You tell me. Basically, you're trying to get folks to realize we can be on different sides of whatever the political spectrum is, still respect each other, try to listen for understanding, because I honestly don't believe we're changing a whole lot of minds anymore, and get along. And that's what you're hoping to do. Is that a good 30-second elevator?
It is. And then I'd say if you do those things, listen and try to understand, don't try to change somebody's mind, you actually find some common ground.
Yes.
Usually.
It's buried in there. Yeah, I completely agree. Right. So you guys do this, and you've been doing it for a while. How long have you been with Braver Angels?
Well, I'm one of the founders, actually, 8 years ago. So, it's right there at the beginning.
Okay, so I've been doing this with this thing that happened a week ago. If this happened in Phoenix, Bill, I think most of us would have said, oh, wow, that's horrible, that's tragic. I mean, I'm thinking the Phoenix people are pretty much over it now, but it happened in Minnesota. So we're a little more hurt by it. It caught our attention. We're not talking about whatever parades were going on that day. Now we're talking about this. For guys in my line of work, and I'm not trying to make myself special, but a lot of these people were friends of mine because they come in this program. I got very worried Saturday. And then you got to think those that are in that business, right? All the senators, they have to have a feeling about this and then take their families. Yeah. I'm thinking of you now. You had to have a very interesting take when you got up Saturday morning, heard what was going on, because you've dedicated 8 years of your life to not have this happen. What were your thoughts Saturday morning? Can you talk us through how this worked for Bill personally?
Well, let me tell you where I was. I was in Des Moines, Iowa, about to give a talk on political polarization to a civic organization, okay? And I'm standing there chatting with people. You know who I'm chatting with, Al? I'm chatting with Iowa's equivalent of Melissa Hordman. A woman in the legislature who is the head of their Democratic Party, who is running for Congress. She and I are chatting, and my wife comes up to me and hands me her phone, and I see that headline.
Oh wow!
And I was just shocked. And here's what I had to do. I said to this woman, I said, I hate to be the one to tell you, but this woman this happened, and she just was ashen. That was how I found out.
And so that's how you find. And your first thought, personally, is, I mean, obviously it's a tragedy. All Minnesotans thought that, but you've dedicated 8 years of your life, and this guy, how do I put this? screw loose. I mean, I don't care what spectrum he's on. Obviously, he left the range. But what do you do? What is your personal feelings with what you've done? Is it I've got to get more motivated now? Is it 8 years and we can't stop this? What personally? How does it work?
Yeah, it's there's an old line about don't waste any crisis, right?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity here.
Okay.
There's an opportunity to say for all of us. Now he had his problems, okay, but this has been happening. So let me tell you a shocking thing that happened a little bit later. Okay. So I'm giving this talk, and I ask people, it's my standard question, what's been leading to this hyperpolarization over the last 40 years? It's been increasing, right? This sort of hate for each other because we disagree. And so people are calling out, social media and other sorts of things. And then this woman says, the Bible. And because she is a very secular humanist progressive, and she thinks people are irrational following the Bible. Okay, so I deal with that a little bit in my talk. I end up at the lunch table with her. Okay.
Oh.
And then she challenged me about something I said, because I opened my talk and said, I hate to have to say this, but this assassination occurred, and I said, and this has been happening. And I referred to the assassination attempt on Trump. Come on, it's happening on both sides. It's horrible. So here's what she said to me at lunch hour. She said, "The Trump thing never happened. It was staged." And she challenged me for equating this murder of Melissa Hortman with that. And I said, I was like, this was shocking. I said, really? I said, what about the blood? Okay,
the dead people.
Well,
I mean, some people,
right.
Some...
She said that was a mistake. Said the blood went wrong, and the blood was put on him by the Secret Service when they tackled him. Okay. So Al, I'm thinking this is a woman who sees herself as super rational, and she thinks anybody who's religious is irrational, and she's telling me this with a straight face. What planet am I on? And then I find out later that some jerks are saying that Walls set it up. That Walls, commissioned this guy or something.
Well, that was supposed to be in his letter to the police or the FBI Walls said it. I mean, the guy went. No, the guy was sprung a leak. Yes,
but the senator from Utah said this is Walls's thing, right? So I just wrote up an op-ed I'm about to send off to the Star Tribune, see if they take it or not. And what I said was that we're at the point where when bad things happen to the other side, but it gives them positive, sympathy or something, we think it was made up. We think it was staged. Yeah. This woman thought the assassination on Trump was staged. And then you have people, crazies, who say, well, the Democrats must have been behind Melissa Hortman. That's how bad we've gotten.
Let me ask you this, sir, because I'm using old knowledge. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill could not have been further apart as how they wanted to get the country somewhere. Yeah. But they found a way, and as I understand it, had beers and cigars and some beverages after work. They knew this was the job. They were friends, I guess is my point. Different nights. There were crazies then. Ronald got shot. Reagan got shot. There were still those people.
Yeah.
I think the difference when I look at it, because crazy is going to be crazy. The guy who shot Trump, crazy. This guy, crazy. The crazies are there. I think the social media is the ability that you can go deep and find people who only believe what you believe. That you can, you're right. He, darn left, or it's the right. And then you get lost in that. We don't have the ability to say, Bill, you crazy left-wing knucklehead, let's go have a beer and we'll chat. That's gone. And I think it's because of the internet.
I think you're right. And in fact, I did a workshop, Ray Branch's workshop, with some members of Congress once. And one member said that if somebody photographed him shaking hands with somebody of the other party, shaking hands, and that got on social media at home, he could be primaried. What?
And it's like the guy you mentioned in Utah spouted off. Back to, if this happened 20 years ago, I don't hear about it. I don't care what the guy in Utah has to say. He means nothing to me. Says something outlandish. Now the Minnesota Republicans got to go back. And it's a whole thing that didn't happen 20 years ago. There were stupid legislators in Utah 20 years ago. I didn't have to hear his thoughts. I don't like it. I've got to go to break, and I want to throw a little something at you that we're going to try to do in this program, see if it helps. Can I do that on the other side?
Absolutely.
I got him. Bill Doherty. He's there. Minnesota's Braver Angels. More after this.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
Amongst friends, the Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
We've got him, Bill Doherty, on the program, founder of Braver Angels of Minnesota. Go to mn.braverangels.org. Sign up today. Help this cat out. He's trying to do the right thing. Sir, we get a lot of representatives, senators on this program, some regulars. I would use John Hoffman, who got shot, Senator Karen Housley. They're two that were different. Here's my thought process. They were different on this program that they shared stuff. John and I talked cigars. He was a regular Joe, so maybe I'm blowing smoke on how this works. Karen Housley's the same. Hortman had been on the program, but being the powerhouse that she was, very professional answers, right? She was a pro. And most representative senators come on, try to do that, right? Don't get tricked by a question. Make sure you answer it correctly, all that. I believe that, now maybe it's not going to make a difference with a complete crazy. We read the paper, we voted down party lines. Oh, those are the bad guys. We don't think of any of these people anymore as the neighbor that we voted to go do our work.
Yeah.
So we're starting a new thing here now. Kind of like you and I are talking about your travel, how you travel. Every time one of these guys comes on, I'm going to ask a different non-political question. the last one place you always wanted to go see and why. And start there. Now, I know I will get crap from both sides saying, you're wasting time, you have this person on, and you're not, talking about whatever. But I think at some point we got to find a way to make these politicians get back to realizing, like Hortman, I didn't know she raised service dogs. And then I didn't realize the one she's got is one that was too friendly that it wouldn't do the job, so she adopted it. I think would be harder to pull a trigger.
Yeah.
When you think of them as humans, you know what I mean? Am I off base, Bill? You do this for a living.
Well, no, I think you're right. We've dehumanized. To hurt somebody, you have to dehumanize them, right?
Exactly.
Right. And so some of what we do when we get politicians together for a few hours, we ask them to tell stories. If stories, behind, tell me about your dog. And so let me just tell you, we've done this with some legislators and some members of Congress. Everybody gets 5 minutes to answer this question. What life experiences have influenced your values and beliefs about public policy and public service? Life experiences, right? And people talk about their families. I had two members of Congress. They talked about their grandfathers. Their grandfathers really cared about the community, okay?
Yeah.
And they inspired them. Now, what's so interesting is that one was a Democrat, one was a Republican. So one was more into sort of government programs, and the other was just private sector. But the inspiration was similar. Okay, the storytelling it humanizes us.
How do we get there, though, Bill? I mean, you're out there pushing it. I know there are 3 ways that if people want to get involved with Brave Rangers, let me throw this out quick. You do. Every announcer wants to say do on the air. So go ahead and make fun of me. You do. Zoom open houses. I mean, you can kind of get a look at that with Zoom. I know you have events that people can do. There's free stuff on the website. Those are 3 ways. What do you suggest to people? I think time is right for you guys right now.
Yeah. Well, it's to dial it back right now. Dial back the condemnation of the people. See, what we're about is, argue it out around your policies. But be careful about assuming that the motivations of people who differ from you. And those motivations are bad, but but people on my side, pure motivations, right?
You can hear the angels behind me when I say my thoughts. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. And to be really careful. So I like the term hypocrisy gets thrown around a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I prefer to say there's inconsistencies, okay? We all have them. I have them. Everybody has them. And the bar for me for pure hypocrisy, like I have no positive motivation at all. I'm just lying about it. That's pretty high for me.
Yeah.
But people assume that everybody else is a hypocrite, that they don't really. So here's what we call blues, Democrats would say. If you're a Republican and you say, no, limited government is going to allow people to have more freedom and blah, blah, blah. No, you just want the lower taxes so the rich can get richer. Okay, I mean, how many actually Reds or Republicans actually think that way? I mean, maybe there's some guy somewhere. No.
Some rich guy saying that works for me, but
right, no, that guy, okay? And the same way the other side, so what Reds or Republicans say, that Democrats want to have this strong safety net because they want people to be dependent on government and then vote for Democrats. I don't know any Democrat who wakes up in the morning and says, how do I make sure poor people stay dependent? It's outsiders attributing this. Now, can you argue that there is a side effect that happens? Yeah, you can argue that government programs create dependency or that the rich, that income inequalities. But you can argue that. But don't attribute the core motive to that.
One of the things that came out right away on my Twitter feed was the people after this shooting attributing it. These people make money when these things happen, and I saw this.
Yes.
And 2 right-wing, what do you call them, influencers. I'm too old for influencers. I don't even need to, but I never heard of them. They're so popular, I didn't know who they were. Here's my thought. If the rest of us want to do good, stop sharing the crap. These influencers say something provocative so it gets out there, and then, I don't know, they get dings and hits, and then they make money. You know what? You drive that up, Now, he's not an influencer. He's not saying stupid stuff. Why do we care so much what the other humans say? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Can we drive that up?
Well, we're wired as human beings to care what other people say, but social media and the internet ramp it up. You said that before the break. That's the big thing now. There've always been people who whispered these sorts of things. I always like to say that in the old days, to spread a conspiracy, you had to have a mimeograph machine. Okay, you had to have envelopes, lick stamps. Okay,
it was a lot of work.
A lot of friggin' work.
You were dedicated to the conspiracy back then. Now you just throw it out there and see what happens.
And then people do their clicks. Yeah.
Bill, you shouldn't make me laugh when we're doing this kind of conversation. You make me laugh every time.
Serious stuff. You're superficial.
No one listening to this program is going to lie with that, but we're out of time. I love having you on, Bill. I thank you for what you're doing. Please don't give up. I mean, this had to be a heck of a setback just with the amount of time and effort you put in. Don't let the crazies win. Keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate you, my friend. I really do. And I appreciate when you give me a hard time. And if we can talk this stuff and I can laugh through this, I'm shallow, but it'll land. And I appreciate you. I thank you very, very much.
I appreciate you too, Al. Thank you.
All right. Braver Angels, it's mn.braverangels.org. Check it out today.